No free repairs? Or else? Ethan thought he was just doing the right thing, helping a struggling veteran get back on the road. But one act of kindness was all it took to set off a chain reaction that would cost him everything. An hour later, his life changed forever in a way he never saw coming. Let's step into this extraordinary journey. Ethan, a 38-year-old mechanic, worked at Parker's Auto Repair, a small-town garage where integrity mattered more than profits. Known for his honesty, Ethan never pushed unnecessary repairs and always explained problems in plain language. If the fix was simple, he'd often refuse payment, especially if the customer was struggling. He had learned the trade from his grandfather, a Korean War veteran who taught him that true worth was measured by kindness and hard work. Ethan lived by that lesson, often working late to ensure the job was done right and even offering free roadside assistance during harsh winters. His generosity extended to everyone, whether it was helping a single mother stretch her dollars or giving veterans discounts out of respect. Despite not making much money, Ethan was rich in loyalty and gratitude from those he helped. His reputation for kindness and skill spread far beyond town, drawing people who valued his straightforward approach and genuine compassion. Ethan's life was built on giving more than he received, and he wouldn't have had it any other way. Parker's wasn't just a garage, it was a second home. As a kid, Ethan spent countless weekends there, his small hands covered in grease and his eyes wide with curiosity as he watched old Mr. Parker work his magic under the hood. The garage had a smell, oil, metal, and faintly of coffee that became as comforting to Ethan as his own home. It was where he learned not just about engines and carburetors, but about people. "A real mechanic fixes more than just cars," Mr. Parker used to say, his voice gravelly but kind. "Sometimes we fix someone's whole day," Ethan would nod, not fully understanding at first, but eventually seeing the truth in those words. The grumpy farmer whose tractor broke down in the middle of planting season. The frantic mother with her minivan stalled during school pickup. The young couple whose clunker of a car couldn't get them to their first real job interview. Mr. Parker never turned anyone away. He had a way of making people feel seen, like their troubles mattered. Ethan grew up watching that kindness in action and vowed to carry it forward. Now, as the one running Parker's Auto Repair, Ethan lived by those lessons. The locals trusted him because they knew he'd be fair. If a repair could wait, he'd say so. If a quick fix would do, he'd make it happen, without trying to wring $1 out of someone's bad luck. And if someone was in a tough spot, Ethan would find a way to help, even if it meant dipping into his own pocket. Veterans especially knew they could count on him. Ethan's grandfather, a Korean War veteran, had instilled in him a deep respect for those who served. At Parker's, veterans were always welcome, whether it was for discounted repairs or simply a place to talk and have a cup of coffee. Ethan made sure of that. Inside the shop, Ethan kept a wall of photos. His grandfather in uniform, veterans he'd helped over the years, even active duty soldiers who had broken down while passing through town. Parker's had been more than a workplace. It had been his refuge, especially after his mom passed when he was 13. While his dad worked long hours, Mr. Parker taught Ethan not just how to repair cars, but how to take care of people. "Listen to the engine," Parker would say. "A good mechanic hears the problem before he sees it." To Ethan, Parker's was about more than business. It was about people. Customers didn't just bring their cars. They brought their lives, their worries, their struggles. And Parker's wasn't just a place where vehicles got repaired. It was where people found understanding, compassion, and a helping hand when they needed it most. Parker himself had always been more interested in helping his neighbors than turning a profit. When money was tight, he didn't turn folks away. Instead, he accepted whatever they could offer. Sometimes it was home-cooked meals, casseroles delivered with grateful smiles, pies still warm from the oven, jars of honey from a local beekeeper who swore it was the best medicine for a bad day. Other times, it was fresh produce from their farms, baskets of tomatoes, corn, apples, anything they could spare. Parker's generosity wasn't just for the farmers and the struggling families, though. Ethan's own grandfather had been a testament to the man's kindness. A Korean War veteran haunted by memories that wouldn't fade, his grandfather returned home a fractured man. Nights were sleepless, his hands shook, and his temper flared at the smallest things. But Parker didn't see him as broken. He saw him as someone who needed purpose. So, Parker gave him a steady job, his first real chance to rebuild his life. He taught him how to repair engines, how to listen to the hum of a motor and understand what it needed. But more than that, he taught him patience and focus. The work became his grandfather's lifeline, a steady rhythm that drowned out the echoes of war. And Parker never rushed him, never made him feel like his struggles were a burden. That's why, even after Parker retired, Ethan kept the military discount going, often covering the cost himself. It was more than just tradition. It was his way of honoring both Parker's legacy and his grandfather's memory. Everything changed when Titan Auto Group took over. They didn't just raise the prices, they drained the heart out of the place. The hand-painted sign was replaced with a corporate logo. The cozy coffee station where customers gathered, gone, replaced by a vending machine. The new manager, Mr. Doyle, watched the security cameras like a hawk. 3 mechanics had already been fired for giving discounts. This is a business, not a charity, Doyle reminded them in every morning meeting. Ethan refused to let Titan erase what made Parker special. So he started keeping a secret notebook, tracking off-the-books repairs. Mrs. Larson, whose husband was stationed overseas. Mr. Green, a retired firefighter on a fixed income. The local teacher, raising 3 kids alone after her husband was deployed. Ethan helped them all, knowing it was only a matter of time before Doyle found out. One chilly November morning, Ethan heard the unmistakable sound of an engine barely hanging on. He turned to see an old Ford barely making it into the lot. A young man stepped out, his worn Marine Corps jacket doing little against the winds. His hands shook as he handed over the keys. "Can you tell me how bad it is?" he asked quietly. Ethan lifted the hood, and his stomach dropped. With Titan's prices, the repair would be outrageous. "Blown head gasket," Ethan said. "That's about $2,800. The young man's face paled. "I've only got $180. I'm just trying to get home." Ethan recognized that look, the same lost stare his grandfather had after the war. Without hesitation, he made a choice. He glanced at the security cameras. "Give me an hour," he said. "I'll see what I can do." Working fast, Ethan raced against time, knowing Doyle did his rounds at noon. The young veteran sat quietly in the waiting room, occasionally checking his phone but never making any calls. After 3 hours, Ethan finished, using spare parts he had set aside for emergencies. That's when Doyle stormed in, his face already red from whatever daily stress he'd manufactured for himself. His eyes narrowed as he looked at the truck rolling smoothly out of the bay. "Where's the paperwork for this repair?" he snapped, his voice echoing through the garage like a clap of thunder. Ethan wiped his hands on a rag, refusing to meet Doyle's gaze. "No charge," he said simply. "He's a veteran trying to get home." Doyle's nostrils flared, his hands gripping the tablet so hard, Ethan wondered if he'd snap it in two. "No charge? Are you out of your damn mind? We've been over this, Ethan. This isn't a charity, it's a business. Parts aren't free. Labor isn't free. Your time isn't free." "Maybe not to you," Ethan replied, his tone calm but unyielding. "But to me, helping someone like him, someone who served, who's just trying to get back on his feet." "It's worth it," Doyle sneered. "Spare me the hero speech. This place has bled enough money because of your so-called generosity. If you want to play saint, do it somewhere else. You're fired. Clear out your tools and get off my property." Ethan's jaw clenched, but he didn't argue. There was no point. Doyle had made his decision long ago, the day he bought the place and replaced compassion with greed. He gathered his tools in silence, his movements slow and deliberate. When he stepped outside Parker's for the last time, his toolbox felt heavier than usual. Maybe it was the weight of lost memories. Maybe it was the realization that his grandfather's legacy was truly gone. The young veteran, Ryan, as Ethan would soon learn, stood nearby, awkwardly shuffling his feet as Ethan approached. His truck, newly repaired and ready to go, idled softly behind him. "I'm so sorry, man," Ryan said, his voice thick with guilt. "You didn't have to do that for me. And now? You're out of a job because of it." Ethan shrugged, forcing a half smile. "Not the first time I got in trouble for helping someone. Won't be the last." The veteran hesitated, then shook Ethan's hand firmly. "My name's Ryan. I won't forget this." Ethan watched as Ryan drove away, unaware that his kindness was about to come full circle. The days that followed were some of the hardest Ethan had ever faced. He applied to every garage in town, but as soon as they heard he'd been fired from Titan, the answer was always the same. "Sorry, Ethan, we can't take the risk." Bills piled up. His savings ran out. For the first time in years, he thought about leaving town. But where would he go? Parker's had been his whole life. Then one morning, a sleek black SUV pulled up to his house. A distinguished man in an Air Force uniform stepped out, his presence commanding instant respect. Ethan tensed. Was he in trouble? But the man's warm smile eased his nerves. "Are you Ethan Reed?" he asked, extending a hand. "I'm General Thomas Walker. I've been looking for you." Ethan frowned. "Looking for me? Why?" The general's expression turned serious. "A few weeks ago, you helped a young Marine, fixed his car for free, even though it cost you your job." Ethan nodded. "I couldn't turn him away. He needed help." General Walker's voice softened. "That Marine was my son, Ryan. He'd been missing for months, struggling with PTSD. When his car broke down, we feared the worst. But then he met you." Ethan's breath caught. "Ryan never mentioned that? Because of you, he made it home. He's safe." Ethan was speechless. His small act of kindness had helped reunite a family. The general continued. "I can't thank you enough, but I can do something to repay you." He'd heard about Ethan losing his job. That had to change. Within minutes, the general made a few phone calls. "Ethan," he said, "I want you to work as a civilian mechanic at our Air Force base. You'll be fixing vehicles for those who serve." Ethan's eyes widened. A job, a fresh start, and a chance to keep doing what he loved. "That's not all," the general added, his eyes glinting with a kind of determination Ethan recognized. "I know your heart is in helping others. I want to set up a charity fund so you can keep providing free repairs to veterans in need, and not just the occasional favor. I'm talking about a real, sustainable operation, something that can reach veterans all over the county." Ethan stared at the man, his breath catching in his throat. "You'd do that? For me?" General Walker smiled, the kind of smile that came from genuine admiration. "For them. What you've been doing all this time is extraordinary. You've been giving your own time, your own money, just to make sure guys like Ryan get a fair chance. It's time we make sure you can keep doing it, without it costing you everything." Ethan's hands shook slightly as he reached out to shake the general's hand. "Thank you. I don't even know what to say." "Say you'll keep doing what you do best," General Walker replied, "helping people." From that moment, Ethan poured his soul into the new charity fund, which he called Second Chance Auto. The fund provided free repairs to veterans who couldn't afford them, those struggling to get to job interviews, doctor's appointments, or even just a way to see their families. And it was all backed by donations from military organizations, local businesses, and even people who had heard Ethan's story and simply wanted to help. Ethan rented a small workshop on the outskirts of town, just enough space to work on a couple of cars at a time. He built it from the ground up, pouring in hours of labor and love. And while the building itself was modest, its purpose was anything but. Veterans from all walks of life came through his doors, each of them treated with the same kindness and respect Ethan's grandfather had once received. He kept things simple. Paperwork was minimal, and his prices were as close to free as possible. If someone truly couldn't pay, Ethan didn't bat an eye, and the coffee can Parker had once kept by the door sat proudly on a shelf, painted in Marine Corps colors, still a symbol of kindness and community. Only now it overflowed with donations from those grateful for a second chance. Meanwhile, Titan Auto Group struggled. Without Ethan's honesty and skill, customers lost trust fast. Complaints about overpriced repairs and shoddy workmanship piled up. Profits plummeted, and Doyle's frustration turned to desperation as he tried to regain the town's trust. But the truth was, people wanted more than just a functioning car. They wanted someone who genuinely cared. Ethan often remembered Mr. Parker's words. "It's not the big moments that change the world, it's the small ones." A mechanic refusing to turn his back, a stranger choosing gratitude over silence. One simple act of kindness, setting off a ripple that reached farther than anyone could imagine. Because when you stand by what's right, the world has a way of bringing it back to you. Loved this story? Hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to check out the next video on your screen. You won't want to miss it. See you next time.